I was struck by lightning. I was in a shootout in front of my house in Los Angeles.
2 armed thugs tried to break into Vince Ricci's home.
17-round shootout.
Family was inside and he had to react fast.
While your family is inside the house, literally behind the door. Growing up in Bronx, dealing with that challenge and difficulties of life on a daily basis. How was it growing up in Bronx?
I had more of a chance of becoming a gangster than I did becoming an athlete or regular person. Definitely changed my life, changed my perspective on a lot of things.
It can turn you into a diamond or it can cause a lot of problems. You're walking that line. It's a very fine line that you're walking. What was your vision behind the studio?
I think one of the first shoots we had was with Kim Kardashian.
Talk to me about your charity. I know it means a lot to you.
So my charity is called Trina's Kids Foundation. It was named after my mother. My mother's name was Trina, but I actually created it before she passed. And I had my mother around. I haven't lived with her since I was pretty young. And she got sick. Over the next 6 months, it just went down and down and down. The day she passed, I said this to myself,
do you feel like you always had this hard work ethic, or you feel like surviving in Bronx while maintaining your family values is what pushed you through it? All right. Well, Vince, thank you so much for being here. I don't think you have any idea how excited I am for this episode because you're someone that I met roughly 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. And the moment we started talking to each other, I immediately knew this is someone not only really aligns with me in regards to personal qualities, outlook on life, how to do business, but beyond that, your passion for your craft, for your family, it really speaks out loud. And I love that about you. That's why I want to dive deep on your business, your personal values, your upbringing. We got a lot to cover. So before we get into it, I would love to hear your story. What was it like growing up in Bronx, New York, and your Italian heritage and how that influenced you?
Oof. I mean, I think it has a lot to do with exactly who I am and really woven into the core fabric of who I am as a person and how I make decisions. I speak at a number of different events, and a lot of times, depending on what I'm speaking, I open up by saying, hi, my name is Vince Ricci. I'm an Italian-American from the Bronx, New York. And I like to preface with that because I respect my culture so much. I respect where I come from. I respect how I grew up, and it's a tribute to my parents. It's a tribute to my grandparents who migrated here from Italy. The integrity that I have as an Italian-American. I feel that when I say that I'm an Italian-American, I'm like the last of a dying breed of people who actually say that. Martin Scorsese says it, but other people, he says he's an American-Italian, but whatever. It's a certain value you hold yourself to.
Yeah.
It's like being a veteran. It's like being something else. When I walk in a room and I'm the only Italian-American, I have to conduct myself like that. I have to do as not just a Ricci or as passed down from my family, but as an Italian-American, and all the cultural things that family first, how you share with people, how you make community over food, and how you eat with people. Just that way of living resonates with me because of how I grew up. And it builds a sense of community. And the best part of being Italian is it's such a strong sense of community. And it's not just, because there's a lot of other communities out there and cultures that are even stronger in a sense that they stick together. But Italians are very open to a lot of people. So many, through the history of Italy, so many people have came in and out of Italy in different cultures that it's kind of like a melting pot of people just like America is, but they're all Italian. It's like, and the same thing about being a New Yorker. I tell people all the time, no matter what you are, you're still a New Yorker. So if you're Puerto Rican, Dominican, Italian, African-American, anything, you're still a New Yorker. So it's like I'm an Italian, but like when we're somewhere else, we're still going to be more together because we're both from New York. And you hold that standard. When I came to LA, I felt like I had to work hard because people wanted to do business with me because I was a New Yorker. Mm-hmm. And they go, we know this guy's going to get it done. So I'm like, oh man, I really gotta show up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, I love that. Italian culture is so rich, so loving. Family values are so strong. And taking that cultural aspect and blending that with Bronx, New York, I'm sure it must have been interesting, powerful, to some degree confusing, and even challenging. So I would love to hear, how was it growing up in Bronx with these values in place?
I mean, it was nice because I went to a high school with like 6,000 students, and there was one Italian class offered, like whatever period, because there was so many students, but there wasn't many that wanted to take Italian. But in the Italian class, everybody that was Italian American went to that class. So like, we're from all different sections of that section of the Bronx, but we all took this class. Now the school was so big, half the time you were people you don't even know. But I was like, we all took Italian and we all were there. But it felt like so many of us out of 30 people in a school of 6,000, it felt like such a strong amount, which was nice. But the Bronx, New York, as you know, is not a place that people are aspiring to make in life and go move to. You know what I mean? Nobody walking on Laguna Beach right now is having ice cream saying one day we're going to hit the lotto, we're going to move to the Bronx. Nobody's saying that. But it's so rich in history. Hip hop was created there. So many successful people were created there. Ralph Lauren's from there. Like Calvin Klein is from there. I could go on and on about how many people are born and raised in the Bronx, because it still has that sense of integrity. Like you hold a value. Like you say, you don't say you're from New York, you say you're from the Bronx.
Bronx.
Yeah. Because it is hard. It's not easy to grow up there. It's not nobody there, like I said, has a lot of money. They're really struggling. And I didn't have the easiest upbringing. My father was in a jail when I was younger and different other issues. And I remember one time my mother was talking to me when I was in grammar school, and she said, Vince, you're not the only one who has a heart. A lot of other people do. And she's like, and she regarded one of my friends, I'm not going to say his name. She's like, your friend, like, cool guy, like super happy kid. His mother's crackhead. You know what I mean? And he's been in and out of jail, and she burnt his apartment down. And then I changed my perspective on looking at this kid who has such a positive outlook. And his mother had passed away, I think, when we were in high school. And I had ran into him after college. We ended up playing handball one day. And he had his life together so well. He had a suit on and then took his jacket off to come play handball with us because he was coming from the city, worked in finance. And I'm like, for what a hard upbringing this kid had, he really did turn out to be a good guy.
I love that.
But we're all here together. We all grew up here together.
Yeah.
It's the same struggle,
Without a doubt. And I wanted to specifically ask that because as an immigrant myself, I feel like part of the fabric of the United States is where people are growing up, and different city, different state offers something unique and challenges you in a different way. And I feel like cities here play a very crucial role on how people are raised. And growing up in Bronx, dealing with that challenge and difficulties of life on a daily basis, standing up for yourself while protecting and maintaining your family values, it can turn you into a diamond or it can cause a lot of problems.
Oh, yeah.
You're walking that line. It's a very fine line that you're walking. So it is very inspiring to hear these incredible stories, and a lot of these stories never make it to the surface because something happens to these individuals, given that these environments are so challenging. And I'm really curious, do you feel like you always had this hard work ethic, or you feel like surviving in Bronx while maintaining your family values is what pushed you through it?
I think that I never even thought about it from that perspective. That 100%, because I actually spoke at a charity like 10 years ago, and some girl was talking about a woman. She was a commentator from E! Was talking about, she grew up and, you look up to Kobe and his work ethic. You look at this, you look at that, this person, that person. I'm like, I'm from the Bronx. Like, I didn't grow up looking up to any of these people. I didn't think that any of that was even possible. I grew up, I had more of a chance of becoming a gangster than I did becoming an athlete or a regular person.
Well said.
Like, because I always felt second class. I always felt beneath people. I always felt a certain way. And I obviously developed imposter syndrome from that and developed different things where I felt like it didn't give me a chip on my shoulder that I had to prove something, but I knew that to get the same thing, I had to work harder.
Yeah.
I had to outwork people, and nothing was going to come easy. I had a friend of mine call me last night. She flew to New York to film a podcast with somebody, and the person canceled when she landed. And she had 5 days in New York. And I was like, well, look at it like this. You're lucky it even happened in the first place, but he canceled. Now you got 5 days to make it happen again. So I would have just accepted. She was so disappointed. And she said, well, how have you felt? I said, I would have expected them to cancel. Of course, I flew here to make this happen. Of course, I changed my plan. Obviously, the guy's going to cancel because that's just what happens. Because that's the way my life was. I was always disappointed. I was always kind of let down and left behind. And when I'm 8 years old and you've forgotten about, it is very hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to accept. It's hard. It breaks your heart. You know, when I'm 39 years old and someone tells me no, I don't care because I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
One way or another. I'm going to make it happen. And now I'm just not going to align with you afterwards because you said no. You know, and I look at that like, okay, you just eliminated yourself in the situation. Now I'm not going to make it work with you. That is what gave me that, is that my ability to continue to persevere, my prowess against adversity, and just never taking no for an answer. Because if I was going to accept no for an answer, I'd still be in the Bronx.
Exactly. And
I would still be there, and it could be a great life. You know, I would still be with all my friends I grew up with. I'd still do it. It's a great community. It's a great life. Not knocking anybody that's there, but I wanted more for my family. I didn't want my kids to grow up the way I did. I didn't want them to be exposed to violence and just different stupid stuff in the street.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That I went through.
No, I totally get it. And it's really fascinating to observe the defense mechanisms people develop when they grow up in harsh environments and these challenging communities. And that's why when I met you and when I got a chance to really understand who you are, I can see the Italian qualities, but also these New Yorker qualities and how they really shaped who you are today and how you look at your business, your family, and really your approach in life in general, which is why I wanted to start this podcast talking about your upbringing. Now, you grew up in New York. Tell me till what age you were in Bronx before you decided to move either to your next location or Los Angeles.
I think I went down to Manhattan when I was about 25, 26.
Okay.
But I was still in and out of the Bronx forever. My parents lived there. Then around like, I think 28, I started dabbling my foot in Los Angeles, showing up, coming out. My friend got an apartment here. I took one of the rooms in the apartment. I was coming back and forth, figuring it out. I mean, I always had this like dream that California was like the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
And it was like, you know, the beach and this. I lived there for over a decade. I've been to the beach like 5 times. You know what I mean?
It looks way better from the outside.
Yeah, way better.
Yeah,
the water's freezing. You know what I mean? One time I got into a fist fight at Venice Beach. I was like, I'm never going back there again. Like, just, it was, I had this idea of more opportunity. And listen, New York is the best place to go if you want opportunity. Like, there is so much motion there. There's so much opportunity. But you're competing with a bunch of sharks. And there's a lot of people that have a lot of influence, that have a lot of connections. Is sometimes you just will not make it happen.
Yeah.
In California, it was, I use this example. When I first moved here, it was like playing basketball, but everybody else is blindfolded. Like, if they're good, they still might listen to the ball and get it away from you and score or get it from you. But if you just play good and you're consistently playing your game, you will win no matter what.
Yeah.
Because you just have that edge. And people just, you know, if they don't show up on time, they don't do certain things, and you do. So that was around 28 that I started to really come out here.
Yeah.
But I still was back and forth. I just got rid of my apartment last year in New York. And only because my parents are gone. So I just don't need to be there right now.
Got it.
You know?
Got it. And what was the reason for you to consider or even make the move to Los Angeles? Was it the energy, or you felt like where you were going in life and the work you were doing, you felt like LA was a better environment for that?
Yeah. I mean, a big part of it was December when I first came here and I was freezing my balls off in New York. And it was like 85 degrees here. And I was like, this is really nice.
This is really good.
This is really nice. I immediately came here and I met up with a friend of mine who was working, her team was called the Young Astronauts, and she was working with Scooter Braun on a bunch of stuff, and they were producing some things for them. And I ended up showing up on set over dinner that night. She was like, why don't you open a studio? And it literally went from there. And me and a buddy of mine opened the studio together. He ended up going and doing his own thing outside of that. But without them really putting in my head that we could do this, I wouldn't have done it. But in New York City, it would have been very difficult to do that.
Yeah.
You know, getting a place in Manhattan or in downtown Brooklyn at the time was probably not the place to be. But, you know, there wouldn't have been opportunity in LA. We literally went to look at one place. The first place we looked at was Keith Huff from Huff Skateboarding Brand's warehouse. I walked in, I met him, who I knew who he was, but I didn't know what he looked like. And then when I realized who was walking me around the place, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool, because I knew the brand. Then he was like, yeah, I'm trying to get out of the lease. You want to take it over? And I was like, sure. And it was that easy. Literally. It felt like God was guiding me in that direction.
Yeah.
And I just took it.
Amazing. And I'm assuming that's how Hubble Studios was formed.
Yep.
Amazing. Wow. I actually didn't know this aspect of it, how quickly you kind of went into this direction and then formed the studio. What was your vision behind the studio? You know, was there a certain part of the creative space that you wanted to cover, or it was more like, let's start a studio and we'll see what happens?
We were really opening to facilitate what they were doing to help them.
Got it.
You know what I mean? They were producing, we shot videos for Ariana Grande, bunch of other people, nameless people, and right off the beginning. I think one of the first shoots we had was with Kim Kardashian. And we looked at ourselves as like the Beverly Hills Hotel of studio business. Yeah. We provide full service to what you need. And when I was on set with other people, their needs were so demanding, whether they need lighting, they need more stands, they need more digital support, and whatever it was. I've been on set before when there's 50 people on set and they ordered food for the wrong day. Literally, like, you gotta cater to all these people all day. Yeah. And it's a big amount, 55 people that day exactly. And she was like, oh my God, we ordered it for tomorrow. And I'm like, don't worry, we'll get it covered. And we went out to some place downtown. Within 30 minutes, we had food there. And I was like, it's kind of easy to just do things if we do it right now. And I looked at the studio business as, when you're on set of production, whether it's a 12-hour day or a 10-hour day, your success rate lies from between 9 a.m. and 7 p.m. or 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Now, if you're 2 hours off, it's going to mess the whole shoot up. And you're going to go into overtime. It's going to make it unprofitable, whatever. All we got to do is just be pretty precise with getting them, solving their problem within a half hour. And if we could do that all the time, we'll be successful. No matter what it was. And it wasn't like they were asking for crazy things. The first time we did the Kia Home green paint for a green screen, they didn't have enough. So I said, I got a guy that can get it. I didn't have a guy. I went to Home Depot and matched the paint, and we mixed it and painted it, and nobody knew the difference. Now, would I do that today? No. But it had to get done because it was 5 o'clock in the morning, and there was nowhere open that was going to get it done. Yeah. And we wouldn't have the time to paint it, dry it, and then set the psych and set all the lighting. It would have been a disaster. But being able to solve those problems immediately and doing with a smile was what set us apart, and we were loving. That's what set Hubble apart. Well,
I mean, what you said right there is so important, and it's one of those things that I find very interesting about this country, because I moved to the United States when I was 17 years old, and by the time I was 23, 24, I was getting into business, started considering flipping homes. And one way or another, you start interacting with a lot of businesses and a lot of services. And I quickly realized, I think it's because this country has it so good. We're safe here. We have so many opportunities. It really doesn't matter which state you live in. For the most part, this is a phenomenal country. But that creates an environment where people are maybe a little bit lazier, and people just take this for granted. They don't know that outside of the United States, across the rest of the world, people worry about different things, their safety. So when I saw all these opportunities, working 16-hour days, doing things with a smile on my face, or wanting to just help people, was received not only so well, but it was almost catching people on surprise. They were not used to it. I'm like, how come you're not used to someone wanting to help you out and be excited for it? That's just given in my country, where I'm from. And knowing LA and knowing the years that you were starting your business and growing your business, I can see that being received so well. You were probably not only killing it, I'm assuming that people were just stoked to be working with you, and they just wanted to keep coming back to your studio and do even more.
Yep. Well, that was the thing. People would question how I dealt with hard clients, because I'm kind of rough around the edges with other things. And I'm like, oh, I've never argued with a client once. Because, the definition of hospitality is doing things at their convenience, not mine. That's not my definition. That's Danny Meyer's definition from the book Unreasonable Hospitality.
Good book.
Great, amazing. And I don't like to ever take anybody's quotes. But it was so easy to be nice because they're stressed out. They're freaking out. They're on set. They spent a ton of money. It could be a disaster. I've been on set up whole things. Talent never showed up. And the producer started crying. And I'm like, don't even worry about it. They said, I was shocked. I said, we'll do it again tomorrow. I'm not going to charge you. Like, we didn't have anything the next day. If I wouldn't do that for everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I understood the situation. I understood her position with the company. It was actually for GOAT, for the sneaker app. Oh. And they spent a lot of money. And I was like, we'll come back tomorrow. We'll just figure it out.
Yeah.
You know? Because now, if I do that, she's with me for life.
Yeah.
She's going to be there. And I also want people to do that for me.
Of course.
Because in life, you never know what's going to happen. You never know when you're going to get left out in the rain and you want someone to open the door for you. Yeah. So if I have the ability to do it, I do it. You know, if I'm getting taken advantage of and I know that you're really trying to screw me, I'm going to say no.
Yeah.
You know, but as long as, you know, you need the help, we're willing to help.
Of course. As long as the intentions are in place and as long as people mean well, you want to help. Yeah. And you're very genuine. And I think you have a broad understanding of the industry, both from your perspective and who's on the other side. And with a little bit of extra effort, you can help people so much. It really doesn't take that much to care or to go to that extra mile to make the experience that much more special. And that's really the energy I felt when I was at your studio. And when I asked about you to some of my friends and the people that I worked with, and I think part of the reason they're drawn to your business beyond the professionalism, the environment, is you and Carla and how you have your personal stamp on your business. Now, I would love to hear some of the big projects. I know you briefly talked about it, but a lot of agencies, you know, CAAs, WMEs, UTAs, these big agencies trust you with their client, with their talent. And beyond that, one of the aspects that I quickly realized with these shoots, with these photo shoots, is you're creating an environment that's very safe for them. And these individuals are being very vulnerable in your spaces. So it's this really interesting balance. You have creativity, you have vulnerability, you have privacy, and you have creativity living all in one space. So would love to hear some of the projects that you worked on and what are some of your learnings from all these experiences?
I'll give you a prime example of one that comes to my mind. They were shooting Jack Harlow for the cover of Spin magazine.
Okay.
And we were doing it with them. We were very involved in a lot of their productions. And I remember I showed up that day to talk to the head of, I don't remember who I was going there to talk to. I can't remember exactly. It's a few years now. And I look and Jack Harlow's dancing on the psych, just having fun. The stylists are trying to put stuff on him or whatever, and he was probably making it very difficult, but he was having a good time. There was a DJ. The food was great. And I was like, ooh, this feels like a vibe. Like, it was just such a good vibe. And no wonder why this guy's so successful, because he lit that room up. And there wasn't a lot of people. There was maybe 15 people there, but he made it so much fun, but also created a safe environment for him to do that.
Yeah.
You know, and that is the magic in the creative process. And that in magic in encompassing that as a whole. This isn't just a job that you're showing up to get the ass and get the hell out. It's like, we want to enjoy making this happen. We want to do that. One, it has to be private. So you got to be vulnerable, because without it being private, you got to be vulnerable. But you can't make it too buttoned up where you're like, we're locking it down. Talent's on set, like, lock the door. Somebody's trying to knock on the door. You can't get your Uber Eats. You know what I mean? Like, whatever the case may be. To touch on that. And two, we're hospitable. Whatever you need. I've had women that forgot to shave their armpits and asked if we had razors. And we said, absolutely. I've had people that ask for deodorant. Absolutely. We have these things. Or anything from, but you shouldn't feel embarrassed to have to ask for those things. I'd seen it when I was coming in, so I kind of figured you were going to have to shave that. But we had it. Like, or whatever the case may be. And I hate to get into like detail like that, but you know, you pay attention to everything.
Of course.
It's like when I watch the videos of you walking through and the details of the corner of the cabinet, it's like, I love how you explain things. And that is a detail of how someone feels on set. It's not just about the lighting. It's also about, you're going to go up there and you're going to pose, whether it's video or photo, whatever, and to truly be loose and to be open to be able to get that shot or get that emotion and capture that emotion, you have to be vulnerable. So all the things that make vulnerability happen, we provide. Music, the feel, whether you're hungry, whether you're thirsty, how comfortable you are, how safe you feel, the people, the smile, somebody greeting you at the door and walking you in, taking your jacket. All those little things is what creates that vulnerability. That's why Beverly Hills Hotel is so great. Yeah. And I love it there. That's why there's certain other businesses that do so well. That's why Craig's is such a great restaurant. Because of how they treat you. Everybody knows your name. Everybody wants a Cheers effect. They want to go to a place where everybody knows their name. And that's kind of what we created.
Absolutely. And there's tremendous amount of pride that you take in your business and years of experience where you've been through so many different circumstances, situations, and you took all of that learning. And I know it's implemented and burned into your DNA. So the razor example, or do you have deodorant? I know there are probably hundreds of examples like this where you have it in place because you've been there, you've done that. And having that little extra touch can elevate their experience so much, or in that given moment where they're really enjoying the process and one thing can tip them off the other side, you don't want that to happen. That's why you have these measures in place. And that's what people remember, those little touch points. It's extremely important, which is why I believe, like looking at your resume and some of the photo shoots, products that you've launched, companies that you've helped, these would be very monumental things in someone's creative career. And when I look at you, I feel like that's an everyday business for Vince, because that's the level of excellence and warmth and hospitality you want to project on your business and through your studios, which is amazing. I feel like you observe people very strongly, especially if you're in an intimate setting with them, whether it's a dinner, shoot, or you're just having a conversation like this. What are some of the qualities that you've observed, that you've admired within the creative individuals that not only are successful, but you feel like they're doing things in the right fashion? And, being in LA, being part of Hollywood, there are a lot of con artists, there are a lot of egotistic individuals. And I know you managed to keep yourself very humble. So I would love to hear from your perspective, what are some of the qualities that you observed within creatives that you've really enjoyed or you really admired?
I think authenticity, 100%. Somebody's being authentic is way more trustworthy, makes you be vulnerable with them, makes you feel connected to them. You can't really tether a connection with somebody if they're not being who they are. Yeah, I mean, that's like me meeting you and you put on an Australian accent and you tell me your name is Jeff. And then I find that, and I realize, I'm like, I watch your fucking YouTube video. I watch your YouTube video. I was like, I know who you are. Like, why is this guy lying to me? Yeah. It would just be, that's the way I feel sometimes when I meet certain individuals that I'm like, I know what time it is, bro. Like, we're not going anywhere with this. Or you meet someone who's just open, just completely authentic, and they're real. I met the CEO of Joe's Jeans on a flight. We spoke the whole time back from New York, came super close. I walk on set to meet her one day to do his Joe's campaign, and she's like, I want to introduce you to Julian. And I go over, I meet this guy, Julian. Guy's in great shape, handsome dude. We're talking. All of a sudden, I'm looking at him. I'm like, oh my God, you're Julian Edelman. And he goes, who did you think you were talking to? I said, I thought you were the photographer. And he started to laugh. But I knew who he was from the Patriots. He was the guy's great. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people know who he is. But he always had a beard. He shaved the beards. He shaves the beard after the season. And I'm talking to him, and she started to laugh too because we were standing there. But he was so warm and hospitable, and so was she. She didn't make me feel stupid for not realizing who I was talking to. And I walked away and said, this woman, I'm pretty sure she was the CEO of Adidas before that and a couple other things. I know she does a lot. She's very successful. I don't put a business out there, but she took such time to speak to me, and she spoke me up so much because she just authentically had a connection with me. And then me and him ended up being friends. He came to my wedding, and it was just authentic, where I've met a lot of other people who they're not so nice. Yeah. Because maybe they're not comfortable with who they are. Maybe they're not comfortable being nice to other people. I don't know what it is. But those two individuals knew who they were. They were very confident, and they were very loving. Yeah. And that comes with being authentic. Yeah. So that's the one characteristic that I really vibe with.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I feel like knowing who you are and being comfortable within your own body is the ultimate confidence. Because then you're just living yourself and presenting yourself. And I agree so much with the authenticity aspect, because be crazy, be wild, but be who you are. Then we can predict. Then we can interact with you, honor who you are, and be ready for it on the other side as well. You know, we want to be accommodating, we want to be hospitable, but when people put a front or this fake persona, you're constantly guarded. Versus if when people are who they are, you can lower your guard and you can also be who you are, which is extremely important. And it's something that you don't really experience in the entertainment world, especially in Los Angeles. I am really curious, you know, I've been in this city over 6 years now, and given I'm so focused on my business and I work all the time, I feel like in a 6-year period, I met a lot of individuals and I really built an amazing network. Now, during that process, I really got a chance to see LA from the other side of the screen, you know, what's behind the scenes. And this is not an easy city to be really successful in, right? There are a lot of opportunities, but it's also very competitive. And it also attracts such high level of talent in almost every industry. And that level of competition, and I think a lot of people come to the city with the idea of wanting to live this dream. No one comes to the city to have an ordinary job. Everybody wants to accomplish something big, live in these beautiful homes, this lifestyle that LA projects out to the world. And on that journey, I saw how people can become so bitter, unhappy, stressful. And it can really turn someone's personality the other way around because the competition is so steep. And I always found it fascinating that there's a small group of individuals that have been through that journey, who became totally the opposite. They're some of the most loving, inspiring, hospitable individuals that I've ever met in my life. And you're one of those individuals. So I'm really curious how you maintain that humility and wanting to be a good person inside, like wanting to be a good person while being in such a competitive industry. I want to take a quick break and tell you about our brand, Nuare. We created Nuare to take the creativity and learning from our YouTube journey and express it in a new way. You see, video making can feel limiting. That's where Nuare became our creative outlet to share that experience with you in a more tangible form. And our first candle is Tangerine Vetiver. It opens with the lively brightness of tangerine, softened by orange blossom. Oud adds depth, while Vetiver brings that earthy, floral layer. So you end up with a candle that's very fresh, soothing, and lightly sweet, just the right amount. All of our candles are made with natural ingredients with no chemicals added. So if you want to check it out, please visit us at nuarehome.com. Your support means a lot to us.
I think because I never felt deserving of it, or I never felt entitled, that I was entitled to get those things, that I literally had to fight tooth and nail for every single one of them.
Yeah.
That even when I'm holding on to it, it's like holding an electric fence. Like you can only hold on to it for so long. So it's like, or you're holding a 200-pound dumbbell in your hand, and you're not putting it down. It's like, whoa. I got good grip strength, but there's only so long I could hold on to certain things. I'll use an example. I trained with Jacob Hepner last weekend with Mike O'Down and these other guys, and Jacob Hepner won the tactical games the last 3 years in a row. He was CrossFit champion. He did a bunch of other stuff, and he said, I'm at the top spot right now, but I'm not always going to be here. Somebody else will dethrone me, and I will have to accept it then. So I'm just going to train as hard as I can to stay here. He didn't sit here and say he's the king, he's this, that. He said, at some point someone will take over. That's just what's going to happen. It's part of life. So no matter how much cool stuff we did yesterday, still got to fight today. People will forget real quick what you've done. And it's like creating, like, you're a painter, you paint, someone buys your painting. What's next? You're going to do it again. You're going to keep creating. It's the journey is what's fun. And staying humble during the journey is what's also part of being who you are, because your success last week doesn't make you successful this week. You're still chasing something, so you still have to chase that success. And part of that success, you have to be humble to achieve it. And it's just nicer to be humble. And the portion of giving back, it just makes you feel good. Yeah. It's almost a selfish act, because God has backed me up my entire life. He's been here for me. He gave me a hard life in the beginning. He took my parents before I would have wanted them to go. But he's been here for me, and he's backed me up. When I thought my daughter had a hole in her heart, he fixed it. When I thought I lost my first daughter, he fixed it. And he's gave me the 2 best kids in the world, and he gave me the best wife I could imagine. And it's because I try to do the right thing every day. And I try to do the right thing by people. And no matter what goes on, how good business gets, because it will get there, because I'm not going to stop until it does. I'm still me.
Yeah.
I'm still from the Bronx. I'm still Vince. I was still little Vince for a long time. You know what I mean? I was still the littlest guy in my group of friends. That's never going to change. No matter what you do, you're still you. You know what I mean? I'm still a Catholic. And I feel like if I act any different, God may not look out for me no more. So I want to be humble.
I love that. It's that approach is part of your religion. And I'm so right there with you. The word entitlement really hits me strongly, because I feel like that's one thing that we face a lot in this country. You know, people feel entitled to these things, and no one really glorifies hardship and how difficulties of life can really shape you and make you appreciate even the littlest things in life. And I feel the same way, where I'm fighting every single day. I don't take anything I have for granted. Every day, to a degree, I feel like I need to prove myself. I need to put my best work out there. And in a way, I fear doing anything that might remotely reflect negatively on someone. It's my religion. It's my way of keeping myself not only safe, but sane too. And I feel like it has served me so well. And it is sometimes hard for me to watch others see the world differently. Or I clearly see acts of people where I'm like, they're trying to hurt the person on the other side. For what? What is there to gain? You know, just have some humility in yourself. And unfortunately, in this city, you experience it almost more than anywhere else in this country. I would say LA and New York are some of the hardest cities when it comes to human relationships and competitive environments. And it is always fascinating to me to see these rare individuals where they found their peace and their success in cities like this. And not only they operate at such high level, their humility, their love for people, their passion is up there on that level as well. Which is why I'm curious how you cope with it and how you find your peace in this environment.
I mean, I got a lot of good friends. You know, I met you. You're a genuine guy. And I've watched you for so long and put you on a pedestal from your detail eye and the places you go and the environment you put yourself in. Like we said, you have a cheat code. You get access to everything in the world.
Yeah.
So you can imagine somebody like yourself would probably could walk around with a lot of hubris and feel entitled. But you were so nice to me. And I'm like, oh, this guy's great. You know what I mean? And I respected your detail, your creative mind, how you let just patterns and colors and things inspire you to want to create and talk about it. You know, and not a lot of people view the world like that.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people could, like when we were looking at the couch, I was infatuated with the couch. And I didn't want to tell you, a lot of times when I'm by myself on the weekends, when I'm not with my kids, my wife, I love going to furniture stores. Not even to buy anything.
Really?
Just to sit on stuff and just to appreciate it. It may not fit in my house, but I love it. You know what I mean? And I love sitting on it. I love feeling it. I love looking at it.
You can respect it.
Yeah. Like I had this all black Ames chair that I waited 6 years to buy. I don't know why. I could have bought it the first time and then I didn't, and I couldn't get it. Then I went back and forth and I thought about it. So now, even when I sit in it, everything that went into the chair, the design of the chair, the 70-year history of the chair, how you mold the plywood for the back, everything, it's like, and it's all black. It's kind of my style.
I love it.
I just appreciate it. When you find people who appreciate things like that, you connect with them. I don't need to connect with 99.9% of people, but I can connect with the people who align with me.
Bingo.
You know, I don't have to be for everybody and they don't have to be with me. I can go to a furniture store alone on a Sunday and enjoy myself, or I can go to Disneyland with 50 people and 20 kids and have a blast because we all were there with our kids. The energy was up. This was just this past weekend and it was an amazing time.
Yeah.
You know, but normally, is everybody going to be around 50 people they like? Probably not. You know, but these are all parents and friends and children, and it was just such a good time. You know?
Yeah.
I met one of the winners from Dancing with the Stars recently, about a year ago, and we immediately connected. He was from Brooklyn, New York. His name is Val. And this is like such a genuine, honest guy. And one of the first times we hung out alone, he asked me a very personal question about how I felt after I lost my parents. And how did I move on from that? And I said, wow, what a deep guy. And in a real genuine way, well, I almost couldn't believe this guy who has danced with some of the most famous people in the world, is on ABC all the time, interviewed, flown all over the world, all these things. He's been a world champion ballroom dancer since he was 11 years old. It cares how I felt 5 years ago. You know?
Yeah.
It was just, and to navigate this entire city and those things, I'm not looking to be friends with everybody. I'm looking to be friends with that guy.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for everybody. And if that doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But God will put people in my life that are supposed to be there.
I'm right there with you. And I think when your intentions are pure, when you really get up every morning to do something right, God, universe, gives you the people that should be in your life. They slowly walk into your life. It's so important. And I think I didn't necessarily had a very hard upbringing, but we weren't necessarily rich. We didn't have a ton of opportunities. My parents are self-starters. Their families didn't support when they got married, so they had to kind of build everything that they have today. And my dad is arguably one of the hardest working individual I know in my life. So it was very inspiring to see him work 14, 16, 18-hour days. And to me, that was all natural. Like, to me, working hard was just normal. It wasn't anything to be glorified. Later on in life, I realized how much of a head start you can have when that is an important quality of yourself. But with that said, I think when you experience hardship, when you work hard, it opens your eye to this level where you can start enjoying little things in life, appreciating little things, and really seeing the hard work that other individuals put, even in areas that may not be so influential. You know, we look at artists, these ultra successful people that have worked really hard, but what about everyday common people? What about the people that do a lot of the city work, you know, build furniture, just amongst many things? And you start seeing the layers of life and appreciating the little things. Like when I hear you talk about coffee, when I hear you talk about a creative process, even a little photo shoot, you can see the layers and textures and depth. And I think that way of looking at life can enrich in your life so much. It can bring so much meaning, and it can make you appreciate the littlest things all the way to the biggest things in life. And that's why I feel like partially I'm always high on life, because I can enjoy a little cup of espresso just as much as a Rolls Royce. To me, they're both kind of the same.
Yep.
You know, I can look at a Rolls Royce and appreciate the engineering, the craftsmanship, the beauty of that car, and how thousands of SKUs need to come together to create that piece. Or also I can look at a coffee that was roasted in Italy, brought to the United States, and here I am enjoying it in a little espresso cup. And that can be just as meaningful to me as well. And I feel like you have that way of, or that approach when it comes to living life. And it is so exciting and so fulfilling to be around those kind of individuals, you know, seeing their passion, even if it's in an industry that may not resonate with you, but seeing how they approach their work is powerful. It's moving. And when you have that kind of an energy, I feel like you'd start drawing those kind of people towards you as well, whether they're in your industry or they might just be drawn to you, which is so exciting. And that's how you build an amazing community. At least that has been the case for me, for my life.
Yep.
Yeah. With that said, you're also a pretty vocal guy. You don't hold your opinion back, which I really appreciate. Like sometimes I feel like I wish I can be as vocal as yourself. And I feel like recently you've been facing some negativity from the people around you, from the people in your community, and you've been very vocal about it. I will leave it at that, and I would love to hear your perspective and why you felt the need to speak about it.
It's funny that you say that I'm vocal. I'm more vocal than others, but then I see the people who are a lot more successful than me, like Grant, our mutual friend, very vocal, very much cares about what he believes in and making a positive change. Some people may not agree with him, but he is a vocal guy and he's authentic.
Yeah.
And it's funny, he inspired me to speak up more. I met him recently and I opened up for him at a few different events and I spoke before him. And I couldn't believe how nice he was from me watching you do his house where Crime was on the episode.
Yep. By the way, we're talking about Grant Cardone.
Yeah. And then when I met this guy, he was thrilled to meet me. and how his daughter was and how stuff, but to touch on how vocal he is, and he's authentic, and he has good intentions. He wants to make positive change. And sometimes you will rattle some people with the things you say.
Of course.
But if you're a utilitarian and you want the greatest good for the greatest amount of people, you're going to have to, speak up. And recently, to touch on what you were talking about, I know what you're talking about. I was forced to defend myself at my house, and I had some negative blowback because the video went viral. And
can you actually expand on that a little bit? I would love to hear the event from your perspective. Obviously, I know the situation, but
it was I was coming home from the gym, and it's funny you talk about Rolls Royce. I had Rolls Royce because I did a deal with Rolls Royce. I shot a commercial for them, and then I ended up getting a deal on a car and bought it when normally I don't like flashier things, and I didn't even bring that car to my house. But then I drove it home that day, and I got followed home, and I had a firearm in my car that I was taking out of my car that I was licensed to have. Had it in the car, and I took it out to go in the house after I was behind my gate. Slowly, after work in the gym and all day, went to go in. 2 guys hopped my fence with guns and tried to do a home invasion. Ended up turning into an altercation. Ended up getting to a shootout with them. It was a 17-round shootout. Definitely changed my life. Changed my perspective on a lot of things. After it wasn't the best interaction with the police, but not all of them, just one guy. There was 30 cops there. They were applauding me, most of them.
Yeah.
And just one guy didn't have a good interaction. He was a young kid. The guy was 24 years old, and I said some things to him I shouldn't have said, but I was still very rattled.
Of course. But
you know what? It is, I can own to the things that I say, and they certain people, not everybody, because I do a lot for law enforcement. I support law enforcement. I sponsor a bunch of things for the local law enforcement that I am around. There's certain people, for whatever reason, that have some negative things to say about me, and they're right. I shouldn't have spoke to him like that. I should have had the wherewithal to be able to conduct myself after. I was struck by lightning. I was in a shootout in front of my house in Los Angeles. I don't live in a war zone.
While your family's inside the house, literally behind the door.
Behind the glass. They shot through the glass door. I think it was also, too, my wife's energy after she was so panicked and crying that when I went outside, it was right. Even thinking about it, makes me uneasy.
Of course.
But, I am a man, and I'm an adult. Man or woman, I'm an adult. And I can own what I do. I had no business talking to a 24-year-old. He's a kid. He didn't know what he was doing. He left bullet shells behind. He doesn't even know what he's doing as a cop. He doesn't know. But that doesn't speak for all of LAPD. These guys got the worst job in the world. They are under scrutiny. They can't do no right, literally. And that's why I constantly invite them to different events. I invited them to Grant Cardone's event to tether with the community. They need to tether a better relationship. But my conduct that day of cursing at this guy wasn't appropriate, and I shouldn't have done that. But now I've given them the ability a year and a half later to continue to talk about me, and I shouldn't do that.
Yeah,
it's not going to make me change how I feel about myself, but they will continue to try to make disparaging comments to other people. And I spoke up that day, and what I spoke up was, hey, I don't even know who you are, this guy or these couple people. I don't know who. If we were in a urinal next to each other, I don't know who you are. I don't care who you are. And you keep saying I'm not who I say I am. Who am I? Who am I? What difference does it make who I am to you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm going to continue to do what I do, and you're going to continue to do what I do. I don't give a shit what you do. I'm going to go home to my kids every day, and I think my main goal is how to raise a great daughter and to be a big sister. And that's my main thing every day, is how much pressure do I put on her to be a big sister. That's literally what I worry about every morning when I'm putting them together. I'm not thinking about this guy, so why are you talking bad about me? But if you want to talk bad about me, why don't we do an event for the Sheriff's Department? Why don't we do an event for LAPD to bring the community together? Because there's enough people talking bad about you guys as a whole that we could fix that. I do a lot of work through Trina's Kids Foundation, my mother's foundation.
Which I want to touch.
Yeah, we'll touch on that after. But if you're going to talk bad about somebody, if you're going to do this, why not take that same amount of energy and make something positive happen? We are in a city of 8 million people. There's 8 million people here, there's a county or whatever. And there's so many people that are struggling. And there's so many single mothers that need help. If you're a man, don't talk about me. I'm good. Yeah, I mean, why don't we put our energy together and help these women who are struggling with their kids? Because my mother struggled with her kid. And I do all these events, and we could do more. Because with more help, we could do more. And if you have that much energy to feel negative, that I'm a bad guy, well, let me give you the opportunity to change your perspective. And I don't really give a shit what you think personally. But if proving to you makes other people better,
I'm in.
Yeah. I'll do it all day. I still may dislike you after.
Yeah.
But that doesn't matter because we came together for a common good and we make change. You know, and whether you dislike me after, great. Who cares?
But we did something good out of it.
Yeah. I got a guy who's suing me over nonsense from an altercation 3.5 years ago that I wasn't even involved in, but my company was. And he made a comment to the lawyer because he wants some more notoriety and he wants to build his image up. Oh, we could do a charity event together. Vince could post and do one of the stadiums with me. I said, absolutely. I think the guy's an idiot and a troublemaker that gets drunk and starts problems at events. But ultimately, if you do got influence and you do things and we use it in the right direction, we'll probably end up liking each other after because we came together to make something better.
Something better. Love that.
If I don't even like you, I'll still do things with you when it comes to charity work. If we may not be the same and we may not vibe, I'll still do it because I can put my ego on the side.
Yeah.
And we come together to do it. And people need to learn how to do that. I have an obligation with God that I made a long time ago that when asked to give back to the less fortunate, I have to say yes. So no matter what, if there's an opportunity to give back together, if it's cold and I'm freezing my, whatever off, I still got to stay and give back. Yeah. And I followed that obligation and it's led to a really great life. So all these people who talk bad, contact me. I'll give back no matter what. If you feel that I'm so negative, let's see. Put it to the test. Put me to the test.
Yeah.
Offer something that I'm going to do and watch me say no. Say, let's go do this. Let's go to Tijuana and give out turkeys for Thanksgiving. Okay, set it up. I'll bring 5 trucks down and a bunch of people. As long as my people can get back, which I hope they can. You know what I mean? Let's go.
Yeah.
I will never say no when it comes to giving back. I will put my personal stuff on the side to give back because it's worked for me up until now.
Freedom of speech is an incredible thing. But in this country, unfortunately, in many places around the world, the value of stating something and being behind it and living that and showing that whatever you say you're going to do is not valued enough. And in this country, there's this love for negativity and wanting to bash people down that baffles me because I'm like, just like you said, why are you wasting your life with this negative thought, wanting to bash someone? Just go do something good. Do it better. Go help that individual. Why are you burning your precious life, your precious energy by building this negative emotion up? I'm baffled. I'm so shocked. Every day I see these negative videos. Every day there's this reaction culture, or like now on YouTube, I don't know if you're seeing it. It's like there's a group of YouTubers that make negative videos about trying to disprove people or why this is a scam artist and this is a scam artist and that. And I know many of these guys, they're like, Enes, we don't know what to do. Should we focus on what we're doing and now start making videos just because these people are just throwing these ridiculous allegations about us where we need to respond to them? And it's so pity. It's so negative. But unfortunately, that's the world we live in, especially in California with employment laws. I mean, the amount of lawsuits I hear and the reasons behind them is comical. And I try to go into things with positive and good intentions, but I quickly realized that that's just how it is over here. And you just need to have big contracts and good lawyers, and you need to pay these individuals to shut this misery down. Yep. That's just how it is. And it's really unfortunate. And it kind of ties back to my conversation earlier about maintaining the humility in you, wanting to do good by people. I try to stay positive every day and do my best, but it can be very bearing to go against this negativity. And it's annoying. I don't want to cave into it. I don't want to become one of these individuals. but that pressure can be quite bearing on you. And I know you face these pressures a lot, lawsuits, threats, people talking about you. And in a way, you're not super public, but in a way, you're extremely public, especially with the work you do. How do you cope with this stress? How do you stay strong year after year, hearing these thoughts and this negativity that comes your way?
I mean, it comes my way all the time. And you are right. It's now that I have 2 kids, I got to be the best dad. And I really do. And I got to conduct myself better. And there's a lot of great people I listen to constantly on YouTube. You know, Jefferson Fisher?
Yep.
He's like changed my perspective on certain things. Chris Voss. I listened to him. I read his book. I think that when you do it alone, it's hard. But when I'm getting frustrated, when I'm getting wound up and I can't calm down, I lean into people who I look up to. I lean into people who kind of talk you off the edge. It's like if you want to have a drink, but you're sober, you go to an AA meeting and you kind of leave feeling a lot better.
Yeah.
You know, I listen to those guys. I listen to different people. And I think that no matter what happens, I am going to continue to grow. And more people will talk about me. More people will point things out. And there's nothing I could do about the bad decisions that I've made in the past. Like there's nothing that I could do that will change how I spoke that night of the shooting. Because it's done. It's there. They could bring up that video all day. But guess what? I'm going to continue to fill more stadiums with toys. I'm going to continue to keep giving back. I'm going to continue to keep growing 2 great, amazing daughters and making my wife happy. And I'm going to make my staff feel empowered. I'm going to make the people around me feel empowered. And I'm going to continue to give back and every day fight to be a great Italian American with my Catholic, religion. So regardless of what happened that day that I can't change, I could just make sure that I don't do it again.
Yeah.
That I don't make that same mistake again. I don't get road rage. I don't get an argument. I wanted to smack some guy outside of Great White the other day. You know what I mean? But that's not going to happen. I'm not going to really do it.
Yeah.
20 years ago, maybe, but every single day I can only wake up and be the best person I could be.
Yeah.
And if I continue to do this day after day, it will accumulate to a great life. 100%. And, that incident will be years in the past and they give them a lot less to talk about.
Yeah.
So don't give people firepower.
Bingo. Well, and I also want to make a comment. Let me see if I can articulate this. But growing up in Turkey, now that I lived basically half my life in Turkey and half my life in US, a lot of these European, Middle Eastern cultures tend to be a little bit more emotional. We live our emotions high.
Oh.
Both the positive and the negative, right? When we're angry, when we're really angry, or when we're happy, we're just flying over the moon. And then when you come to US, you quickly learn how things are a little bit more practical by the law and how people are pushed to manage their emotions a little bit better. It's like, yes, you can feel happy or sad, but this is the law and this is how things are structured, so it's going to go this way. So I feel like a lot of foreigners, and in this case, even though you were born and raised in Bronx, I feel like that Italian culture is like burned in you, where you're high on emotions, you want to go tackle things. And to a degree, that emotional aspect is what makes you really successful and powerful, because through emotion, you can go through anything, you can make anything happen. But at the same time, through the years, that emotion, you pay a big price for that emotion as well. Oh, yeah. It gets the best of you. And I feel like I'm sitting across Vince that has learned to control and manage that emotion and use it to his power when it's needed, but also be able to put it to a side when it's not serving you. How did you get to that point? I think
taking real loss. Because then you realize that nothing else really matters as bad. It's like your first lawsuit.
Yeah.
It sucks. You're like, oh my God,
it kills you. You lose sleep.
I can't believe it. I'm getting sued.
Yeah.
Why? Because some woman called an old woman an old B at work. Did you say anything? No. He said, what are you worried about? And I'm like, and I'm going crazy. Now, I'm like, bring them on. Because I know I conduct myself correctly. And I know they're all, half of them are bogus anyway. And they're just taking shots, trying to take a few dollars. And yeah, it will
They're
whatever.
miserable with their own life, and they're trying to take advantage of the system.
They're already miserable. You're not. The more seconds I give you, is the more energy I give you, the more power I give you. The less I give you, you have no power over me. I may pay you a few bucks. You might cost me a few dollars, but ultimately, you're not in my life. Controlling my emotions is. I've had so many dark days. A friend of mine called me last night. She asked me for advice on the situation, and she said, "You working out?" I said, "Yeah." She's like, "Are you working out every productive minute you have of the day? Like every minute you have?" I was like, "Well, I had a very hard life for a long time, and a very life where I didn't have the power. I was young, I was left behind, and now every minute is an opportunity. Every minute is an opportunity to get better." And while I'm working out, I'm either listening to an audiobook or listening to, I was listening to Cash Patel on Joe Rogan last night when I worked out, because I wanted to understand his perspective on things, to understand who he was, to have a better grip on it.
He has an important role.
He has a very important role on what's going on in this country. Yeah. And the more you learn, the more confidence you have, the more wisdom you have, the more confidence. And that's how you control your emotion. It's like if you're going to go in and fight somebody, say you're going to go in a boxing match and fight some guy, and you know for a fact you're going to win. You got no problems, and you're already warmed up. You're not going to be nervous.
Yeah.
You're not going to be worked up. You're not going to be jittery. Nobody's going to get a rattle out of you because you know you're going to win. Now, if you didn't have the confidence and you didn't know you're going to win, you're going to be worked up. Yeah. You're going to be super nervous. Every single day that I train, every single day that I enlighten myself and chase information, whether it's spiritual, intellectually, or financial enlightenment or empowerment, I'm getting better. So the me 5 years ago that you got rattled is definitely not the me today. And 5 years from now, you better pray to God that you're not on my radar, because I'm only going to grow in more influence and power. And if I decide that today's the day, you better stay out of my way. You know what I mean? So I'm confident in handling things. I will address it when I have to.
Yeah.
But I'm cool right now. As long as you don't threaten me, you don't come to my house. I mean, we all seen what happens if someone comes to my house and tries to get in my house. It ain't going to happen. People were like, "Oh, how do you live in LA? It's like this, it's like that." I'm saying, it's a really nice place.
It's a really nice place.
I love it. I walked to Largemont Village, the greatest strip in the city, I think. They got my name in the coffee shop on Clark Street Coffee on the menu. Like, I couldn't ask for a better situation. They got my dog goes crazy over the dog treats. It's like, I feel like I'm on vacation every day I walk there. It's a good life, or I could look at the negative
and be drowned in it,
and be drawn to it, which I don't want to be. I buried both my parents. Both of those days were the worst days of my life. I will never have to go through that again. With the freak accident that something may happen to somebody I care about, or my children or whatever, I pray that never happens, but I got a good life right now. So I'm not going to focus on the negative. I'm going to focus on the positive. And that's it.
I love it. And you're right. Your first lawsuit, you get all nervous, you get all worked up, but then you quickly learn to not only manage your emotions, but also just kind of accept the reality of life. That's just how things are over here. And it is okay. And you find a way to protect your humility and who you are, your pure personality, while still being competitive and managing the challenges of life. But I also feel like, at least for me, and I would love to hear your perspective, what has helped me manage my emotions, be calmer, be more observant, is going through difficult things. And no matter how positive our outlook can be on life, everybody goes through difficult, challenging times. And looking at you, knowing you, I can feel that you've been through a couple challenging events in your life, and that has really shaped or built or put the important cornerstones of who you are today. I would love to hear, if you don't mind sharing, one of those experiences, maybe especially the ones that you feel like has really shaped who you are, or maybe changed your perspective on life. Because I truly believe that in this country, maybe we don't glorify challenges enough. And being where I am in life, having the access to not only assets and businesses, but to the individuals that I get to talk to, behind every glorious story, there is a very important event, a big challenge that that individual or that company had to go through and persevere. And I really made my mission to bring these stories to life and let people know on the other side who are on that journey, who are pursuing their dreams, that you will go through challenges, and you persevering through them and overcoming them is what's going to ultimately make you successful. So I would love to hear your part of the story on that.
So a lot of what people that, in the journey of life, and especially entrepreneurship, they want it to be a hockey stick. They want it to go up.
Yeah.
And that's the goal. That's
the dream.
That's the dream. But then I realize it's obviously an up and down. It goes up and goes down. But ultimately, if you look at the 20-year plan, it looks pretty straight.
Yeah.
Maybe dips here and there, but it looks...
Or that massive dip at the time over a 20-year becomes a little dip.
Yeah, super small. Like you don't even see it.
Yeah.
Type of thing. And that year felt tough. But this soon shall pass. Like everything else, it will move on, and every day the sun's going to come out again. And when I think about the hardest time in my life, I had a real hard upbringing, and just as I was becoming successful, just as things were getting real good, I was convincing my mother to move to California. When she retired in February, and this is 17, and just as I was like, I wanted to spend time, I want to build a family. I'm going to propose to Carla, my future wife. And she was like, well, let's look at places. And I'm like, wow, I'm going to have a family together again. Because I had a broken up family.
She was warming up to the idea.
Warming up to the idea. And I'm like, wow, things are really going to work out. Like that idea of a real family is going to happen. I have my mother around. I haven't lived with her since I was, pretty young. And she got sick. And then she got brain cancer. Then she had a surgery 2 weeks later. Then she got the results in 2 weeks later. I remember exactly where I was. She had spread to her entire brain. Now she's terminally ill. And over the next 6 months, it just went down and down and down. And I was there 95% of the time. And the day she passed, I said this to myself. Well, she died at 2:43 in the morning. Got the call. I ran to St. Patrick's Cathedral and prayed outside. It was in the middle of the night. To let my emotion out and anger, and then I remember waking up, went home, maybe slept an hour, woke up, and I said, well, I got to go to the hospital, get stuff. I got to do this. I got to go plan the funeral. The funeral is going to be in the third day from that. Well, the wake and then the funeral the next day. And I remember, okay, it's 96 hours from today. It'll be over from that moment. And in 96 hours, it'll be all okay. I'll walk away from the luncheon, like after the funeral. I remember my father telling me the hardest part of your life is when you walk away from your mother's, after you bury your mother. And you walk away from the cemetery because it's it's over. And now you got to move on without her.
Yeah.
And as a man, your mother's such an important role, especially as an Italian American. Like you kind of raised to take care of your mom and be there. And they give you love. They teach you how to love. Your father teaches you how to be a man. Your mother teaches you how to love.
Yeah.
You know how to love a woman, how to be a man in a different way with love, with a heart.
True.
And as those 96 hours played out, going to the funeral home, planning again the flowers, just fighting with my sister the whole time because she didn't agree with anything I wanted to do. I'm taking my father to get a suit, yelling at the guy in the suit place because I felt like he disrespected my dad, and I was taking it out on him I shouldn't have. And the people who were there, appreciating them and taking it out on some of my friends that I shouldn't have. It was hard. It was the hardest 96 hours of my life.
How old were you?
32. And I remember getting through the funeral, getting through the wake, going to the funeral, getting to the cemetery, and sitting outside. I remember like this was yesterday. My sister got doves. They released these doves. And we sat down, and I'm looking at the casket with the flowers on it, and they're going to lower the casket after we leave. And the priest's about to come out, and I said, I was freezing. It was March 25th. It was March 27th to 28th at the time. I was freezing. And I was just in a suit. And I said, it's another 20 minutes. And in 20 minutes, I'll get back in the car and put the heat on. And then sun came out and hit me a little bit, and I felt like my mother warmed me up a little bit. And that was 7 years ago. And that 20 minutes felt like the hardest moments of my life. Not only, it was just not just about being cold, this is the last moments. That was 7 years ago. 7 years has flown by. I've had children, I've gotten married, I've been through COVID, my business went down, up, down to nothing, buried my father. But that minutes are going to go by the same exact way that we're going to spend 2 hours talking to each other. That 20 minutes could fly by in just a topic that we talk right now. Yeah. But it felt like the longest 20 minutes of my life was right there. You know what I mean? I remember my buddy bringing a speaker to play the song my mother liked, and he took forever to walk the speaker up to the front. And it felt like so long. But it passed. And I'm here, and I go home every day. I look at my oldest daughter, Sophia. She looks just like my mother, and I look in her eyes, and I feel like she's there, you know. And it's like
she is there.
Yeah, and it's gonna get better. Your heart is gonna get better. Your heart will mend. And my mom is looking out for me. And that day that they shot at me in front of the house, my mother was there. There's no way they shot all around me and through my legs and didn't hit me, you know, because not everybody's so lucky.
Yeah.
But she protects me. And she's in heaven, and she's looking down on me. And she may not be healing me today. And I made it really was hard to let it go. And I really had a hard time. And it was gut-wrenching to let it go. But through that thing that, you know, through watching all of these people that you think are successful, whether I'm reading Michael Ovitt's book, you know, Elon Musk's book, you know, Steve Schwartzman from BlackRock, they also have lost their parents. They've also lost loved ones. They've also lost their businesses. They've also lost things. And as over the long period of time it looked like this, you didn't realize it's been an up and down and navigating the emotions of life through it.
Yeah.
And when you're at that bottom, just remember that you'll be back at the top. And when you're at the top, the hard times come.
Yeah.
You know, they will come.
Be on the lookout.
Yeah, and be on the lookout. And those little moments when you're in the hardest time, it's going to get better. And God's got you.
I'm right there with you. And you're a very strong individual. You have resilience, and I can see how you toughened out those times, and knowing, you know, future is ahead and it is bright, and you just got to stay focused. And I would say, and maybe one day I'll talk about it, but recently over the last few years, I've been through some tough times, and I want to leave people with a practical advice. But what I found to be very helpful to me is you make a little bit of progress every single day. And it's funny, when I was going through the tough times, I was listening to a lot of interviews, a lot of those like motivational talks, those compilation videos that people put together on YouTube, just like
they're the best.
And then I found this little clip, and I want to speak about this because it has impacted me tremendously. It has given me this almost like eye-opening moment where Lex Friedman, he's incredible. I would argue the best podcast in the world. He interviewed Bill Ackman.
I think I listened to this one.
Yeah, Pershing Square. And there's a 17-minute chapter in there towards the second half of the podcast where Bill Ackman talks about this 2-3 year period that he'd been through. And he's someone I look up to, very successful, super smart. And I always felt connected to him from a professional standpoint.
Yeah.
But he talks about this period of his life where he went through a divorce, multiple lawsuits, $4 billion loss on stock market.
That's Carl Icahn, right?
Yeah, Carl Icahn, bingo.
Yeah.
And how he basically was on the edge of losing everything, truly everything, both his personal life and his business life. And the way he was talking about that experience, it was clearly very painful. I mean, what I went through comparing to his is a joke. But yet along his calmness, his humility, and how he woke up every day and said, you know what? I'm going to make a little bit of progress today. I don't think I'm going to be able to change the world. I cannot fix all of these problems today, but I can make a little bit of progress. I can just move the needle a little bit forward. And just like investment, just like money, progress compounds. And people underestimate this so much. Sometimes during tough times, all you can do is just sit down, buckle up, and just make a little bit of progress every day. And before you know, that resilience, that commitment to say, you know what, I'm going to do my best. And whatever happens, happens. It buys you this sense of relief, sense of, you know what, if this ship burns, it is going to burn. But I'm going to try to put this fire down. And a lot of times you end up making it work. A lot of times you pull it off. A lot of times when you put that kind of energy, miracles do come your way. Or one morning you wake up and there's this beautiful sunlight and new opportunity and new chance for you to make it right. And I think it's really important. And I think I see that resilience in you as well. Not just through that event, but that's not the only hard thing that you've been through.
No.
Obviously. So I think it's really important to just keep things moving forward.
Yep. There's a saying, it's tough times don't last, but tough people do.
100%. 100%. So it's really important. I have a couple more questions for you, but I want to personally ask. I'm on a bit of a health journey myself. Through the tough few years that I've had to live, I've gained a little bit of weight. I let go of my health. I went 4 years straight without working out, which is insane given the fact that I was a professional windsurfer for 13 years.
Yeah.
So being an athlete is burned in me, and it's partially who I am. You value being healthy, working out a lot, more than I would say most people I know. And it strikes an important chord within you. And I would love to know why working out is so important for you.
My mother was a physical trainer my whole life. She worked in a school, in a high school called Truman High School in the Bronx, but she was also a physical trainer, like a life coach. And I watched her push a lot of people to get better. And she would have like these projects for 6 months and help someone lose 100 pounds, or help a friend of hers or a woman or whatever it was. And the impact, I would listen to her speak to them on the phone at night, on the cord phone, and she's in the kitchen, I'm a little kid. And now she would talk to them. It's one day at a time. It's one day eating healthy. It's getting steps. It's going for a walk. Or let's go to Pelham Park and walk around the track. And it was such a big part of her life of being healthy and pushing people to be healthy. And she had a worse childhood than I did. She had a very hard life, and ended up being sick when I was a little kid for a long time and different things. And she always persevered, but she used fitness and she used the health and she focused on the health. Now, one, I want to be around for my kids, so I have an obligation to them to be as healthy as I possibly can, to stick around as long as I can. Two, I don't want to get any older. I want to stay young forever. And training every single day and pushing myself every single day will keep me that way. Yeah. Learning how to do it smarter and warming up and stretching out and working on my body to make sure I don't hurt myself, because I'm going to be 40 years old this year, but I still do the things I did when I was 21, just comes with a little more conscious effort and decision, and being a little more concise with how I do it. Yeah. But I could still jump as high, run as fast, same, just as strong. And when you really dump your all into a workout, like give your all, whether it's CrossFit or whatever it is you're doing, and you get those horse blinders on and you only focus on what you're doing, I give my every single ounce of my effort to it, it's like meditation. Because after, when you are done and you knew that you gave your all, there's two ways you go about it. You could either do a workout with a buddy, then you kind of pace yourself the whole time and you finish and whatever. And if you have some integrity and pride, at that end of the night, you're going to be like, I should have went a little harder. I could have ran a little faster. Yeah. I would have been a little better. And it's going to bother you. Or you can kill yourself, literally. Dump your all, and right after, you're going to feel horrible. Your heartbeat, your beats per minute is going to be 180 plus. You're going to feel miserable. You might throw up. It's going to be horrible. But 10 minutes later, you're going to know that you gave your all, and you're going to feel rewarded. And that night when you go to sleep, you know, there was no more I could have gave. Yeah. I gave my all. And I do that every single day. And I dump it every single day. I may not work out to the point that I want to die, because my workout that I'm programmed in doesn't consist of that. Yeah. But when it's time to do it, I can close my eyes. I can go dark. And that confidence that I could do that every day, go to work is easy. I'm not even going to get sweaty. Yep. When I got to go to a deposition in 2 weeks. I'm not running a marathon. I'm not doing a CrossFit competition against a bunch of athletes. I'm definitely not getting in a ring with nobody and have to fight and survive. I'm going to a deposition. I'm going to answer questions honestly. It's not that difficult. There's nothing to get nervous about. Yeah. But I have that confidence because I train every day, because I know that I'm an animal, because I know that pound for pound, could do what I got to do. And I could show up and I could just give my all. And I've never fainted before from a workout, but I know that I can go to a very dark place, and that's not really that bad. It actually brings me a level of peace, because after you've burnt through all your anxiety, all your extra emotion, you're so cooked and smoked that you're like, it's not so bad.
Yeah.
Sitting on this folding chair feels really good.
Really good.
Really good.
And I think giving your all is so undervalued. It's like a religion. It's like a way of life. I try to approach everything where I give my all. My work, still to this day, every shoot we get ready for, I write my notes, I study the house, I do my best. And it's not because I'm trying to prove something. It's my approach to life, and it's relieving. I think it ties back to confidence. It ties back to purity. It's like, I gave my all. What is there to fear? Why should I be afraid? I give my all every single day, and I mean well. There's nothing else left. And when you can bring that approach or have it permeate throughout your life with everything you do, it becomes a very meaningful life. Yeah. It becomes a very fulfilling life. And I try to do that with everything, my friendships, my work, and I see that in you as well. And it's like, that's how you work out, that's how you care about your business, and that's how you care about your family, which is the next thing I want to talk about. You have an incredible loving relationship with your wife, Carla, who I got a chance to meet as well. You have 2 kids. And this is a bit of an ignorant question on my end. As someone who's young, who has a girlfriend, but who's not married, and living in LA over the last 6 years and being really exposed to this world of success, entertainment, this lifestyle that the whole world looks up to, a lifestyle that's quite dark and can be very negative and can be just not the most exciting thing to look up to. In that world, I see you with a beautiful family, so much love, passion, and care for one another. How did you not only find that, but how did you accomplish that as well?
For all the things we talked about. Yeah, I mean, having heart, having these things, making that decision every day. You know, being a good husband comes with being honest. You know what I mean? And being real. You know, I listened to a clip someone sent me. It was a guy, a special forces guy that was talking about it. He said, you know, I met my wife when I was 14 years old, and she's the only woman I've ever been with, and we're together for 30 years or whatever he said. And all the guys around me always say they're so jealous of me, even though they're out bachelors and they do it, but they always want to know what I have. I want to say, yeah, because they're lying to you. Well, I say it's a joke, like, but you never got to be with other people. You never got to do it. Well, he probably is happy, super happy. I've dated so much, I've done so much, that I got to where I'm at, and I picked my wife. We picked each other. But I choose every day her. And if she chooses tomorrow that I'm not the one, she could move on and find somebody else. But today we choose us. And that's who I choose. In the whole world of all the millions of people in New York and LA that I'm exposed to, I choose her. You know? And I make that decision every day by being a good husband, by being a supportive husband, by being there for her, making her feel loved and supported, and kissing her on the head. And like, my wife gets upset because we don't talk enough. Even though we work together, we do everything together. I couldn't imagine how much more she wants to talk. You know what I mean? But we talk about everything. Like, she knows where I am all day. She's
a very integral part of your life, not only personal, but business life as well.
Yeah, we do everything together. But we don't talk enough. Okay. So when I go to a lot of dinners with people I do business with, whatever, we had dinner before.
Of course.
I like to have dinner late because I get through the whole day, I get to work out, then I can go to dinner at like 8:39. So I come home, she's already sleeping. So I whisper in her ear, I want to talk. And then she's like, what? I'm like, I'm feeling chatty. Let's talk. She's like, go to bed. And I said, okay, I tried. And I lay down. And I do that every night that I come home that she's sleeping. And it's like our thing. Well, my nightmares are going to happen one day. She'll be up with coffee, having a cup of coffee, saying, I want to talk now. I'm like, oh my God. But, not every relationship's perfect.
Yeah.
And things go on, and it, like, if you harp on the things that are not good, you're gonna look for them. If you harp on things that are great, you're gonna find those too. We got 2 beautiful daughters. We don't give them any sugar, like fruits and stuff.
Yeah,
we're aligned with how we want to raise them. We went to look at schools, and all the schools for like a 2.5-year-old give snacks. We don't want to give Sophia snacks, so we're just going to keep doing the same programs we do with swimming, dancing, other things. We have a great nanny that comes during the day while at work. And we're raising 2 warriors. We're raising 2 loving kids.
I have no doubt.
Yeah, and my biggest thing right now is making sure that Sophia is being raised to be a big sister. And I actually was telling my wife, like, I don't want to put too much pressure on her of saying, you got to protect your sister, because it might become like a complex that she's got to like punch everybody in the face that comes by me, I don't want that. But because we're so like adamant about progress and doing it together, it's brought us together. And it's us against the world. It really is. This is our family, and I don't care about nobody else. This is us. Ain't nobody take it from us. And that kept us together. And it's been a lot of fun.
Amazing. Talk to me about your charity. I know it means a lot to you.
Yeah. So my charity is called Trina's Kids Foundation. It was named after my mother. My mother's name was Trina, but I actually created it before she passed. So grew up in Bronx, New York. I was exposed to a lot of drug addiction, a lot of different things, even in my own household, not with my mother. And my mother suffered the brunt of it in a lot of different ways. And we struggled for a very long time. And she also then started working in high school that was in a disenfranchised area. And she's seen it every single day. What was going on. And not only with us. And then, I started getting arrested young. Everything. I put her through a lot of hell. Ultimately, Trina's Kids is based around kids who are impacted by drug abuse. Not that they're on drugs, but the things around them put them there. And you could find that everywhere. Yeah. And any ghetto in the area, any disenfranchised area, any underserved community, there's going to be a certain level of alcoholism and drug addiction.
Drug exposure, yeah.
That's around there, and these kids are going to struggle. And they know what it is. They got more of a grip on what's happening by 8 years old on what drugs do to you and how to tear up a family than a 38-year-old that's never seen it. That's a counselor that's learned it in school. So we target a lot of these areas, and we do different types of programs, whether it's report card day, we reward kids based on the report cards, backpack day, we do like haircuts, all back to school stuff, all supplies for a whole year of school with a backpack. Thanksgiving, where we give them a turkey and bags of all the stuff to go home and make a Thanksgiving dinner for themselves, and then we also feed them that day. And then Christmas is just exploding with my partner Dan Fleischman. We've filled SoFi Stadium, we filled Miami Heat Arena, we filled other arenas. We've literally like turned this into a Ted City tour every year, and we go around and get hundreds of thousands of toys and give them out, and support other charities also and other foundations. But a big part of it is making those people feel seen and making them feel loved. And the same mentality we have with the studio when people come in. We do the events at the studio that are in LA. And we do them other places, but there mostly. And we open the doors and we bring the entire community in. And it's hundreds of families from East LA, from the Boyle Heights section of East LA that we take care of. And we're a business in that area. I became such an integral part of that community. I got more juice in that community than the mayor.
I fully believe you. And to give context to everyone, Hubble Studios is located in downtown.
Yeah.
And some would argue it's the rougher part of the town. But somehow you created a community and an energy there that is quite distinct to you.
Yeah.
Everybody respects you a lot in that community, in that area. And even though on face value, people may not be excited to come to downtown for whatever reason or the business that they're going to conduct, I know they feel totally comfortable coming to your space.
Yeah. Well, this is it's a Hispanic community. They take care of themselves. They may have their own internal issues with the gang stuff, but that doesn't affect us. Yeah, I mean, they're struggling too. They're doing the best they can. This is what they.
It's not easy for them either.
A 60-year-old gangbanger, been doing that since he was 11. That's all he knows. Still doesn't make him a bad guy. Still says hello to me. Still comes to our events. Still comes and asks if we need anything. Like, it's such a good community. Such a great people. You know what I mean? Legal, illegal, whatever it is, they're still good people. I vibe very much with the Mexican culture. The second largest group of Roman Catholics exist in Mexico. It's literally like so Italian and Mexican people have so much in common. So it's been easy to adapt to that community. Mind you, if it was a different type of community, if I was in Koreatown, maybe they might not show up to my events. I don't know. You know, nothing against Koreans, but
Yeah.
you know, that's not where I am. But my mom struggled for so long and felt left behind, even as a kid. So I call Trina's kids that these are all her kids and her people, and we don't leave them behind. They're more, our door is always open to them. Like anything they need, I'll do. Especially during these events, we open the door and bring the entire community in. And it's the biggest thing I worry about is slips and someone getting hurt. You know what I mean? That's the biggest thing I worry about. But like hundreds and hundreds of people come in. We've had thousands of people at events. We did a event with the Huntington Park Police Department. We had like 4,000 people come to it. It was insane.
Amazing.
It was last year. It was crazy, and we had great support. That community is a great community. They all came out. They did great. But these things, I had my wife's mother ask me. We were in Miami. We were filming the Miami Heat Arena. We were doing it with the Miami Heat players. We didn't have the support that we have in LA because I didn't have the reach that I have there. I was stressed. We had thousands of toys. There was going to be thousands of kids. I got the limited security. I don't even know if we're going to get any volunteers. Yeah. The guy from gallery department donated and showed up with his whole staff. Thank God, Josue and his wife and his girlfriend. Thank God he came. A lot of people came after, but they were the first ones to show up on time. The only ones to show up on time. But my wife's mother asked, how long do you want to keep doing this for? Like, don't you ever want to just settle down and enjoy like the holidays? And I said, forever. I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. When I hear people talk about my mother's name, it keeps her alive in my heart. I hear her name get said. People that never even met her know what her picture looks like, know who she is. People say Trina's kids. Oh, Trina's event. It's like, it's the best feeling ever. It's like watering a plant, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing. Now the roots are so in the concrete and around, you're never going to get rid of it. You know, it's like a tree that the roots burst out and lift the sidewalk.
It's part of the community.
Yeah. And I want my kids to grow. I have pictures of Sophia on the court in Miami Heat Arena with the Heat players, like on the court with all these toys, all these people, the shot clock, the Trina's kids banners all across the whole thing. And I'm like, we're in Florida. We're not even in our city. We're just crushing it everywhere. And she's going to be raised with knowing that every holiday we give back. We give to the less fortunate. You see all these toys, you're here to give them out. That's the even best part about them.
Yeah.
Is the rewarding feeling of handing them to somebody else. It's never going to die. It's going to be part of who I am. And as much as it's stressful and it drives me nuts, and I deal with the stupidest people in the world sometimes trying to set these things up, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. Because it's part of who I am. Did you ever see the last Entourage episode of season, I think 5 or 6, when Matt Damon is trying to raise money?
Mm-mm.
There's a monologue he keeps calling Vinny Chase.
Okay.
And he's like, write the check, Vin. Write the check, the foundation.
Yeah.
And he's going crazy. He's like, I can't believe that a person like you even has money to give you, such a terrible actor, and you won't give it. And I'm like, yo, that's what I have to do to raise money sometimes. I got to call everybody, and I got to drill them. I got to tell them that they're buying G-bills, God bills, like you're buying T-bonds and T-bills.
Yeah, God bills. I love
God
it.
bills. You're investing and you can get 10 times the amount. And I had a friend of mine ask, wait, how am I getting 10 times the amount? I said, write the check.
You just write it.
Write the check. And you're going to get it back. He's like, when do you think? And I'm like, I'm not really giving you the money back. I need the money. You're going to get it back. Don't worry about it. But it's my obligation to God and to the people, to my mother. And I don't mind drilling people for money when it comes to the charity. I have no shame. I wouldn't call you. I'll call everybody. You know what I mean?
I was just going to say.
But, you know, I could either feel that I had such a bad holidays as a kid that, like, you know, some people, you know, when they have bad holidays, they feel like the holiday's not a good time for them because it reminds them of a time of hurt and a time of less than and not having anything. No. This is my time to take that feeling and make sure that other people don't have that feeling, that these other kids don't, that this guy that's not even from here, that didn't grow up with us, that's not even what we are, cares to give back, cares to smile, cares to walk around and make a scene, you know what I mean? Make us all feel loved and
cared for.
Like, that's what life's all about, is the impact you make on other people.
I couldn't agree more. And I think you touched on a very important subject there. It's like making sure people are seen. It's so important, especially in a big country, especially in a country where the wealth disparity is so wide. So many kids are growing up, whether it's through their struggles, their neighborhood, or the area that they're growing up in, they're not seen. And events like this gives them a chance, gives them an experience where they receive something, they know that it's for them. And it can be so impactful. And I know it is impactful, given that I guarantee so many of those kids are going to grow up remembering those events, those giveaways, and those charity events. And I guarantee you, a lot of them are going to be successful where they're going to want to give back because they know the warmth they felt during those times when they were kids. And that's so impactful. Your impact may just look one directional, like to those individuals. Well, how those individuals are going to take that experience and then carry it to the next generation. So I want to commend you for that, and you have my support.
Thank you.
Whatever I can do, just let me know. I was even thinking, if you ever want to, like, you know, I know every single developer, homeowner in this town, I would love to get a couple of these homes opened up, and maybe we rally up some cars and take some kids to these insane homes, and they can just walk around and enjoy these spaces. We can do something like that. So just let me know.
That'd be great.
With that, I want to quickly ask about LA before we wrap up this podcast. And I want to state something, and I want to get your take on it. I've been here for the last 6 years. I've been coming to LA for the last 10 years, right? First time I came to Los Angeles, I was blown away by the city. Just the energy, homes, architecture, success. It's glamorous. It's everything you watch on movies. And it's live and in front of you. And it's interactive, it's engaging. Even driving on the streets here is an experience, you know? And coming to here, working hard every single day, building my media business, amongst many other things that we're working on, you quickly see through LA a little bit. And to me, LA is like a big engine. It's like a Bugatti engine. It has a lot of volume, a lot of energy, a lot of potential. But at the same time, when the city doesn't fill that capacity with opportunities and things happening, it can also be self-destructive. And I feel like in the last 5-6 years, put all those little events and things and safety aside, it's been kind of self-destructing itself. And I call it, LA is going through a renaissance. It is kind of finding its new identity. In this new world, it is reshaping itself. You are in the heart of the city with the business that you run, how involved you are with the community, and how you have such a good read on how the city's moving. So I would love to hear your perspective. What do you think of LA today? Where do you think it's going?
Oof. I think that when I first came to LA, it was, I mean, just to start, we're in the greatest country on earth. There's a big disparity here, 100%, but America's a land of opportunity. 100%. People dream to come here. You came here because there's opportunity, and you could really make it work. And LA is in Southern California, one of the most beautiful places on earth, with the best coast, the best sunsets, the best weather, no rain. It's amazing. Like it's unbelievable. I came here. You know, there's so many people that did. But when I first came here, it was pretty safe. There was this thing called greater bodily harm. It was a law that if you basically like hit somebody, made them bleed, or they went to the hospital, you went to jail for 6 months. So it wasn't even fist fights. People give each other a finger in the car all the time, and nobody fought. And you definitely went to jail if you did an armed robbery. And then I think a lot of bad leadership. I think the prosecutor, prior to the prosecutor now, Gascon, did a lot of really progressive law bills that changed things and made it less safe. And then the home invasion thing exploded when people were doing home invasions. And the minute that you do that, you take everything that makes someone holds safe and someone holds sacred. And
you almost start shaking the ground.
You ruin it from the core. It's really rough when you do that. And when people are afraid to live there, and then you hit them with the luxury tax bill when any house over X amount of money gets this insane tax, and all these things just like simultaneously, like a pattern of destruction happened. And, you know, you have these very high level movers and shakers that really do dictate what a lot of people do and how they live. And when they put a lot of money in an area, do things, they give a lot of opportunity.
Of course.
You know, even if you go work at a company for 3 years, but you eventually go open your own company, but you moved up in that company and you learned a lot, you know, that company still has to be here for you to be able to do that. That company still needs to have a centralized leader that is making good decisions and wants to live here and pay the taxes here and do those things to make that happen. But that's not happening today.
Yeah.
We're a city that has certain taxes, certain laws, and certain programs, certain things that make it very non-favorable for the entrepreneur. Very non-favorable for the aspiring person to be better. And this isn't just a guy who owns 50 McDonald's that has 4,000 employees. This is Esmeralda that's not documented, that opened an LLC that has 6 women that work for her cleaning houses.
Yeah.
Because she took a chance and she hired her nieces. But what people don't realize that now in California, you need 5 people or more, you need to offer the same things as a big business office. You need to offer 401ks, health insurance, and that. She can't afford to do that. You know, there's got to be a common ground. There's got to be a middle place where it progressively changes. You know what I mean? We just made it so harsh without caring about growth. People come to America because of the aspiration to do better. There has to be a social ladder that, you know, you're not missing pegs where you just can't get, like you said, that big divide.
Yeah.
LA to me has been the place that gave me such opportunity. One of the first meetings I had here when I was starting Trina's Kids was with Dan Fleischman, and he said, meet me at this sushi place. I have about 10 minutes. Then after we started talking, I guess he liked me. And he was like, just stay here. We're going to have dinner. And Steve Aoki walked in and sat down. And I'm like, whew. And I grew up with the guy, Ronnie, from the Jersey Shore, and he just so happened to be coming to meet me. And this is after he was like first season, he was getting famous. And I was like, I felt like I was getting some backup, you know what I mean? Like, you brought Steve, I brought Ronnie. I was the same, but kind of. But I remember thinking, like, this is a casual early dinner where the guy doesn't know me and Steve Aoki just showed up. I would
Very normal thing in LA.
Very, very normal thing. Like where this guy's listening to me when I'm telling about my charity and wants to be involved. This isn't abnormal. You know, I met Anastasia of Beverly Hills. I'm casual, and then she invites me over to her house for Thanksgiving. And she's one of the most soul successful self-made women in history.
Yes.
You know, and I became super close with her. This happened all in Los Angeles. But a lot of these people don't want to be here anymore because of the crime. We got to fix the crime.
Yeah.
If people do not feel safe being here, they will not be here. I have to worry about raising my daughters here because I want to make sure that they're safe going to school. I want to make sure that they're not indoctrinated with nonsense ideas. You know what I mean? And I'm very socially progressive, but I think there's a common ground where, like, I got to make the decisions for my family. And I don't want a school telling me what decisions I'm going to make for my family. You know, I'm open-minded to everything, very open-minded. But my family's my family. And you're not going to take that away from me.
No.
And we got to kind of change that a little bit. Some things need to be a little more sacred.
I agree. I think safety has been a big aspect in regards to how people feel about LA right now.
Yeah.
And just like you said, that's the core. When you shake that, everything else becomes shaky. And it becomes harder. And when you start worrying about those fundamental things in a country like the United States, you start questioning things. And we lost a good amount of talent. Hopefully it will come to an end soon because it is an incredible city. It has provided incredible opportunities for you, myself. But you're right, running a small business here is extremely challenging.
Oh.
You suffer from it. I suffer from it. We deal with it, find a way. But the price we pay for it is quite radical. Like,
yeah.
It is. Sometimes I feel like I'm complaining about this, and I really don't want to. It's complaining is not in my soul.
Yeah.
But it is so difficult that it takes the joy, the passion out of everything you do, and that's the fine line we need to get. We need to figure out. We need to adjust and make LA an exciting place to be, exciting place to start and innovate, because that's what this city has in its core. It is such a creative city, and I love Kobe Bryant was he said something along the lines of LA can be whatever you want the city to be.
Yep.
Because it has so many different neighborhoods, areas, locations, moments for you to live whatever experience you want within a 10 to 15 mile range, which is incredible while we have this amazing weather too. So it's a beautiful city. I know you want the city to grow and be better. I'm right there with you, and hopefully brighter days are ahead of us. With that, any final thoughts?
Just talking about LA, I had that shooting at my house. I got shot at.
Yep.
They know who the guys are. They never arrested them. And I was a public story. It was a national public story, and they still didn't do it. LA can get out of its own way. They need to get out of its own way. This is literally one of the greatest cities in the greatest country on earth. Yeah. This could be the greatest city on earth if it just starts to get out of its own way. We got to protect the people that are here. We really do. We got to protect families. I think number one, you protect single mothers. They're the people who need the most. We don't need to put $3 million at the homeless and not see a change. That's great. $3 billion, not $3 million.
Yeah.
And not see a change. Great programs to help single mothers. They need the help. That's the people breaks my heart when I see them suffer.
Yeah.
Then we need to protect the home life. We got to prosecute people who are going into homes. We got to make that, there's got to be recourse. Robberies need to stop happening. People shouldn't feel uncomfortable. You shouldn't blame somebody you walked outside with a Rolex on and you got robbed, that's your fault. No, that's why we come here.
Yeah.
To do good, get better,
live freely. And this is America. A guy recently posted a video of the stuff happening the other day on June 8th downtown and how wild it was, but then simultaneously showing the Grove and simultaneously on Runyon and showing downtown. So this city could look at the difference right now, what's going on, and a whole bunch of things. I said, well, that's the world we live in. There's going to be bad and there's going to be good. Yeah.
We just need to make the good a little more and make the bad a little less. And if you do that every day, you have a great life.
You make a lot of progress.
Yep.
Amazing. I want to give this to you. I know you and I talked about this a little bit. That's our new brand. I've known you for the last 2 years, and the way you carry yourself, your business, how you conduct yourself, you've inspired me a lot, you and your wife. And this is the company that we created after years of experience when it comes to touring these homes, assets, our understanding of luxury, and we wanted to create a product that's immersive, that elevated people's lives, and hence, we created Nuare. It's the new you, and our all organic essential oil based candle. So I know you were part of this journey. You and I were talking about this, and many iterations later, here we are. So I just wanted to give you, we haven't even started selling them yet. That's just one of our early productions. So I wanted to share that with you.
I love it.
And thank you for being such a good friend and such a big supporter. Really appreciate you.
It's an obsession with excellence. I love that. Yeah. It's the definition of excellence and greatness. It's a lot of great things done right behind each other.
Yeah.
And I love that. This is great. And you are the guy who the details. So I watched for years, for so long before I met you.
Yeah.
But this is amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me here today. It's an honor.
Thank you, Vince. Thank you so much.
Thank you.